What's up, guys? How's it going, everybody? My name is Blitzwinger, and ladies and gents, welcome to Diagon Alley, and welcome to LEGO Harry Potter years 5 through 7. Today, we've got a bonus video for you guys. Of course, every time that we complete any one of the LEGO games, we then go on ahead and dive into some of the post-game showcases, I guess, that kind of makes sense, and the one that makes the most amount of sense is to take a look at the complete character roster. Now, the one thing that's interesting about this game, honestly, is that as I was going through the game, it really genuinely felt like it was way more than even 200 characters unlocked. Now, I know what you're saying, dude, 200 characters is an insane amount, and you're right, but for some reason, with the just sheer amount of unlockables that we've gotten and continued to get throughout the game, it really did feel like it was actually more than that. Now, it could be just because there's such a great variance of characters, and what I mean by that, if we step onto the pad here with all the different character tokens, you can see that every character has about 14 billion variations. And I know that you guys think I'm kidding, but there really are an absurd amount of variations. So, for example, we have the basic core heroes, the trio, kind of the main heroes and protagonists of the story. We got Harry Potter, of course. We've got Hermione Granger, or Granger. I don't know, I said Grenier. Why is that? I don't know where I've heard that name before. And then Ron Weasley. Or Weasley? Okay. Let's pretend like I actually know what I'm talking about. So, from there, we see the fact that every one of those three heroes then has a whole bunch of variations. So, if you really think about it, if we went ahead and consolidated the characters to truly be one character here each time, where, for example, the Yule Ball variation of Harry Potter, or the Brown Jacket variation, or the Godric's Hollow, or the Locket, those are all still Harry Potter. It's the exact same characters. So because of that, I feel like it's a little bit unfair to say that there really is 200 characters. Don't get me wrong, there are some character tokens, like this one right here, Ron Weasley in a ghoul attire. That's a very different design, so it kind of makes sense that it would be separate, but a lot of the characters that they apply as separate characters are just different outfits, and I think it makes sense just because I guess they kind of ran out of characters to add into the game, because the Harry Potter universe, for example, is not nearly as dense as something like, let's say, the Marvel universe or the DC universe, where there's a vast library of characters to choose from. So with that in mind, and now that everybody who's a Harry Potter fan is already running into the comments to go on ahead and scream at me to say that Harry Potter is better than Marvel and DC, because that's what they heard, let's get rocking and let's get rolling with the different costumes. So when we're scrolling through the different attires, we're just going to kind of let it pass through like this, as you can see. So I'm not going to sit here and point out like Harry Potter and Godric's Hollow, Harry Potter and Locket, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so let's begin here. Here we have Hermione and her vast attires that are available in the game. So you can go on ahead and see all of those, sort of scroll through here. Then we've got the one and only Ron, who also does get quite a few different variations and attires, as well as the, what was his name? Catermole or something like that. What was the, Rag Catermole, which is like when they have that disguised kind of adult variation. So that was pretty cool. Then we have Dumbledore himself. You get Professor Dumbledore, Cursed, Young, and of course the older variation as well. So that's kind of neat. Then you've got McGonagall here. She also does come along with a couple of different variations as well. Another member of the professor staff on Hogwarts. We have Professor Flitwick here, who only gets one variation, which is kind of surprising. We have Snape here in an underwear variation and regular Professor Snape. Then you have Mad-Eye Moody here. You have Slughorn, as well as the pajama version and young variation of Slughorn. Then you have Remus Lupin, Madame Hooch, Lockhart in the straitjacket attire, Madame Pomfrey, Madame Irma Pince, Professor Sprout, and Professor Trelawney wraps up the first row of characters. We move right along to the next row of characters, and we have Charity Burbage, Professor Grubbly Plank. We have Hagrid. Hagrid does actually get a couple of variations, so that's cool. You have the regular one and then the wedding attire. You have Argus Filch, Godric Gryffindor, Helga Hufflepuff, Rona Ravenclaw, and Salazar Slytherin. So it's really cool that you have kind of the heads of each one of the different houses in Harry Potter here, kind of the originator, so that's kind of neat. Then you have Ginny. Ginny, similarly to Ron, Hermione, and Harry Potter, does get quite a few variations, and same thing goes for the rest of the Weasley family. So you have Fred here, who gets a couple of different costumes, and then same thing goes for George Weasley as well. Neville also does get quite a few different costumes, which is somewhat surprising, but I guess if you're a Neville fan, you'll be happy to see that. Then we have Seamus Finnegan here, who also does get a couple of different costumes. We have Parvati Patil. We have Dean Thomas here in 2 different outfits. You have Cormac here, a McLagan. Then we have Katie Bell. We have Lavender Brown, which sounds like a weird color description, like a purple brown variation. And then you have Draco here. Malfoy, of course, in a couple of different costumes as well. Move right along to the third row of characters, which kicks off with Vincent Crabbe. Then you have Goyle here. You have Blaze Zabini. You have Slytherin Twin number 1, Slytherin Twin number 2. These are just, I don't know, it's just funny names for characters. Like, what's your first name? Slytherin. What's your last name? Twin. What's your... Well, actually, I guess technically their last name would be what, number 1 or something? I don't know. But the point being, it's just a weird name for characters. Then we have Luna Lovegood here, who actually does get a pretty ridiculous amount of costumes. She, similarly to Harry Potter, Hermione, and Ron, gets a lot of different variations. So that is definitely pretty cool. And she actually has one of the coolest like costumes in the game, the lion head one. It's definitely a really cool design. Then you have Anthony Goldstein here. You have Padme Patil. You have Cho Chang. You have Penelope Clearwater. You have Marcus Belby, or Belby maybe, Mariette Edgecombe, Michael Corner, Justin Finch Fletchley, that's a fun name to say, Susan Bones, Hannah Abbott, Zachariah Smith, Fang, who's awesome, of course, one of the early characters that you get to play as, who actually has the super strong ability. Then you have Creature and Dobby, realizing now that Dobby and Creature were not the same thing, or I guess not just now, but when you guys pointed out in the comments, because I had thought for some reason that Dobby and Creature were the exact same character. Clearly, I was incorrect about that. Then we have Griphook here and Bogrod, who have the safe key, or one of the characters, I guess 2 of the characters that have the safe key ability in the game, so that's kind of neat. There's the previously mentioned Ron Weasley in ghoul attire, aka Zombie Ron. Then you have Lord Voldemort, who looks very epic. Maybe we shouldn't have said his name. Then you have Tom Riddle here, and a couple of different variations. Bellatrix here, Lestrange, also does get a couple of different outfits in the game. Then we have Lucius Malfoy, who once again does also have a few variations. Then we have Narcissa Malfoy. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I'm assuming that's Lucius Malfoy's significant other, right? And then Draco Malfoy is obviously their son. Then you have Wormtail here. Fenrir Greyback. The Death Eaters, who are just a nightmare to deal with in this game. Literally, they're just so frustrating sometimes to defeat. Then you have Electo Caro. You have Amicus Caro. You have Albert Runcorn. You have Bathilda in snake attire, I guess, or snake variation. Then we have Antonine Dolohov. Then you have Professor Umbridge. You have Grindelwald. Grindelwald does actually get quite a few different costumes, and I think that he also appears in the new Harry Potter movie. Well, they're not Harry Potter movies, the Fantastic Beasts movies. I'm pretty sure he appears in those movies as well, and I'm pretty sure that what's his name voices him, or not voices him, plays him. The guy who plays Captain Jack Sparrow. Why am I blanking on his name right now? I can't believe it. Johnny Depp. There we go. Then we have Scabior here. And Snatcher, another one of the dark magic users in the game. Speaking of dark magic users, there's Thorfinn Rowley. Then we have Yaxley, Aberforth Dumbledore. So I don't know how Aberforth Dumbledore is different to regular Professor Dumbledore. I guess maybe this implies that this is him before becoming a professor, but then they do have him here as just young version of Dumbledore, so I'm a little bit confused about that. If you're a Harry Potter fan, please clarify that in the comments. We have Arthur Weasley here in several different costumes. We have Molly Weasley here, And then we have Bill Weasley. So obviously the Weasley family is very, very, very much represented in this game for sure. Then you have Fleur Delacour or something like that. Charlie Weasley again. Percy Weasley. There's so many Weasleys in this universe. Then you have Sirius or Cyrus Black. I think it's Cyrus, actually. Then we have how do you say that? Nymphadora Tonks? I hope I pronounced that correctly. Then we have Daedalus Diggle here. Then you have Hestia Jones. Kingsley Shacklebolt. That's a sick last name. Shacklebolt. That's a cool name. Okay. I don't know how to pronounce that one. Mundungus Fletcher? Again, I apologize if I mispronounce any of these names. Then we have Ollivander. I feel like half the entertainment of this video is the fact that I am completely butchering these names. Emmeline Vance, Cornelius Fudge in several different costumes. And then we have Dirk Cresswell. All right, we move along to the second to last row of characters here. We kick things off with Grigorovich. Then we have Mafalda Hopkirk. Reg Cattermole, who is also represented as Ron, pretending to be Reg Cattermole. So that's kind of interesting because he's right up there in the top row. We have Mary Cattermole. We have the Ministry Guard. We have Madame Malkin, Madame Rosemerta, Ernie Prang, who kind of reminds me always of a little bit of Albert Einstein, like the design for him. Then you have Pius Thickknees. You have Regulus Black, Rita Skeeter, Rufus Screamgyre, Mrs. Black, then Xenophilius Lovegood. I hope I said that right. Then you've got Alphias Doge, or Doge, like the meme. James Potter in several different attires, or actually, it's kind of sad that he goes from young James Potter to ghost James Potter. Definitely a little dark there. Then you have Lily Potter here as well, so that's kind of cool. We have Vernon Dursley, Petunia Dursley, and we move along to the last row of characters here, which is represented by Dudley Dursley. You have Dudley's gang member. You have Miss Cole, who also does have the safety ability. You have the milkman character, Mrs. Fig. You have the Muggle orphan. You have the station guard. You have the waitress here in several, actually, variations. Then you have the skeleton. And then you have a few different ghost characters, which, interestingly enough, are all under the same character token. I'm guessing it's maybe because they have, like, similar abilities and design as far as, like, the actual physics of those characters are concerned. So you have the Grey Lady, Moaning Myrtle, Peeves, Professor Binns, the Bloody Baron, Fat Friar, and the Fat Lady. So a pretty vast character of ghosts there to see. And then, of course, these two character tokens here are just your custom icons. So if you design any type of custom characters, they would appear there. So with that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. That is the complete roster of LEGO Harry Potter years 5 through 7. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. I'll hopefully catch you guys here next time. Peace out. See you later, alligators. Bye-bye, guys.